Hey, what's going on, my friends? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor, and today I'm going to share with you some more advanced manifestation tips. This video is not going to be a basic crash course on the law of attraction. Rather, for those of you who might feel frustrated in your attempts to apply the general concepts of the law of attraction. This is more little tweaks and tips that I found to have a big impact in my own life and in my own application of my understanding of the law of attraction. And they have actually worked for me in a very tangible and noticeable and physical way. And I'm going to share 5 of them with you right now. Number 1 is most people would agree that you have to believe that what you want, right? It's just as easy as believing. I want to be the president. Okay, just believe it. Well, for most people, it's not easy to actually, in truth, believe you're going to be the president. I'm not saying you can't. I'm not trying to be a dream squasher, but that's a far-fetched idea. Obviously, there's only one in the United States anyways. So I'm not saying don't shoot for the stars. I am, but here's what actually works for me. When I first started, I wanted to be have 1 million YouTube subscribers. I had all these kind of grand goals. But when I was starting, and all I had at the time were my 5 YouTube channels when I was still experimenting with what I want to talk about, and none of them were performing well at all. For me to actually believe that was damn near impossible. I saw no way that was going to happen. But anyways, eventually one of my YouTube channels, this one, started to get some traction, and I didn't just automatically believe I can get to 1 million, but I believed I could get to 100. I saw that I was gaining like a couple a day. Well, it's just a matter of time with this rate, and eventually I'll hit 100, obviously, right? And once I got to 100, I was like, oh wow. Now I'm starting to get like 4 or 5 a day. And then I shot for 1,000. I shot for 1,000 because that was now plausible. Well, at the time when I just started, sometimes I wasn't growing at all. 1,000 seemed way out of my league. So I wasn't even. It was almost depressed me to even contemplate that. But eventually, the idea of 1,000 became truly a possibility for me. And once I hit 1,000 and I saw that it was picking up speed, I realized that, dude, you could get to 5,000. There's no reason you can't keep doing this. And it's going to eventually accumulate to 5,000. Well, 5,000 led to 10,000. Now I have, I don't know, 65,000 or something like that, climbing pretty quickly. But again, in the very beginning, I was not able to believe that. That was too far-fetched. And the idea, rather than fill me with hope and excitement and faith and confidence, it made me feel depressed and hopeless and like just unsure of myself and doubtful. So work up to your big beliefs. You're right. Belief is important. I think most people will experience that you will be limited to what you can achieve if you don't actually believe it. But you can creatively work up to bigger and bigger and bigger and more bold beliefs by first stretching your belief system maybe a little bit, attain that, make sure it's in harmony with that big eventual thing you'd like to do, but you're not ready to think about that, and just keep stepping up the beliefs. And as you believe, as you stretch it a little bit and then manifest it, it'll just make your ability to believe stronger and stronger and stronger. And then with that, you'll find that the sky really is the limit if you're willing to kind of put in the work. So that's the way it's worked for me. Again, it wasn't just like I tried to win the lottery, but it straight up came down to like I did not believe I could. I did not believe that out of millions of people, I would be one to actually win the lottery. And the hanging on to that wild goal of mine just started to wreak havoc in my life, and it turned out to not be something I wanted anyways. Anyways, I digress. I'm going to move on to another one here. Number 2, similar, kind of a spin-off of this first one. It's that even with maybe down the line goals that you do believe but are maybe far away, I find better to not spend too much time visualizing that far distant outcome. I found this to be the case when I wanted to move to California. I sensed it was possible. I kind of believed it because I had such a resonance with it. And yet I found myself where it seemed very far away. I was still very much stuck living in Michigan. And what I would do every morning, I'd wake up and I'd visualize myself in San Diego. I'd imagine the weather and the warmth on my skin. I put time and energy daily, and I had vision boards. I really went the whole 9 yards with this, and it worked. I got San Diego synchronicities up the wazoo, and I felt myself moving towards that. But because there was such a time gap in between my present reality and where I wanted to go, it made my circumstances in the present miserable. It made me hate where I was and just desperately long to be there. It made me invalidate where I was, and it just being so focused in the future caused, I believe, a disruption in my present in a very big way. So I think it's still important to do that, to do a little bit of that, but I find that it's more resourceful and even faster, arguably, to spend most of your time and energy and manifestation, gusto into maybe the relevant stepping stone that will maybe eventually, that's actually in harmony with that path that will eventually lead you to where you want to go. So now what I do is I have longer term goals, medium term goals, and then short term goals. And I focus most of my energy and attention on the short term goals. It helps them manifest very quickly, and I can know and be patient while they slowly accumulate and will eventually transpire, and I'll find myself where I kind of initially, or I really wanted to go. But in doing it this way, it makes me enjoy the present a lot more. It makes me actually enjoy and dig into the journey and experience that will lead me to where I would like to go. So that's the big thing. That's been a big thing for me, because I would do that. I would, like a lot of you guys, I would get glimpses of where I wanted to go, and then I would obsess about them, and then I would suffer until I finally got there. But I found that it's not necessary. At all times of my life, including now, there are things in it that I would rather not be there, and things I wish were there. And I found that to be kind of a static component to my human life. But again, dwelling on what I don't want, losing myself in the future of what I do want, only disrupted my reality, and it doesn't work very well. It's not very effective. It's using up a lot of energy that's actually causing me suffering and taking me out of the moment. So anyway, I kind of got lost a little bit there, but focus on that next step. Give all your attention and energy to that next step, and you watch it happen magically. And that in of itself will be very enjoyable and satisfying. And then eventually you'll hit your far off goal too, but it won't even be that big of a deal because you'll have enjoyed the journey. Number 3 is take affirmations very seriously. Any type of affirmation or subconscious mind programming technique, whether it be hypnosis or affirmations or I don't know, vision boards, visualization, I don't know if I said that, that kind of stuff works very well. But we live on Earth where things take a bit of time, if you haven't noticed, and there's a time lag. So it's not always immediately evident that it's working. But I've tested these, I've worked them in myself and as well as with many of my clients, and they work beautifully, and I'm actually finding them to work more now. They're just working better and better and better, I believe, because of the energies that we're living in is giving us the opportunity for faster manifestation. And when you act and live your life accordingly with that notion in mind, I'm finding that little affirmations are very helpful, again, in the short term. I don't say whatever, like I'm a millionaire living in a mansion in Hawaii on an island. That's not really a goal of mine or anything, but I say, I recite affirmations every day. I either write them down or say them in the mirror. Either way is the same. It just gets them in the forefront of my consciousness throughout the day. And they have to do with relevant goals. Like they always have to do for me with like relationships, my career, my YouTube thing, health, And then sometimes I'll have like a spiritual goal as well. Right now I want to be more patient with my children. My youngest, Sebastian, is at an age where he's being real testy, and he's putting us through a trying time. So rather than, I don't like reacting with anger, so I'm trying to program in my mind to remind myself that he's a little kid, it's just a phase, and to respond with more patience with him. And it's been working. It's worked beautifully for that. It's been amazing to me. These little relationship tweaks I've been systematically embedding into my subconsciousness, and just how much of a difference. I don't know exactly how it works. I have my theories, but I find that, again, these little mini goals of mine are just more at the forefront. I catch myself. It's like helping. It just echoes in my mind to where a situation where I would normally react a certain way into a certain situation, rather than react, it draws upon the memory of that affirmation. I find this works very well with like my career. Where do I want to be? What do I want to be doing? And I just do that. As far as like, right now I'm trying to lose body fat. I'm trying to like lean out a little bit. So I say how much I want to weigh. I weigh like 176 right now, but I want to be about 170. That's my goal. So I just write down, I weigh 170 pounds. I'm strong and healthy and feel great. I write that down almost every single day, and it's made my dieting process pretty easy compared to how it can go in my life. So I use those affirmations personally, daily, and they work very well. This last one is a technique that I've coined myself. It's called flexible planning. A lot of people get caught up with, should I just let go and let God? Or should I take control and be empowered? I found it to be a balance of both. I make plans, but I'm not attached to them. I'm very well aware that there's a good chance and possibility they will change, because my mind only has so much foresight and such an ability to predict exactly how something should go. So I'm not attached to them. I'm flexible, and I'm very much faster now to change them and alter them based on the experiences I have. But I also found that being too flighty about it all, I think, and a lot of people say this, a lot of people who are very good manifestors, really successful people in the world, they say you got to be fairly specific in what you want. I found that to be the case myself. I want to be happy and enlightened and abundant. That's a little bit detached. That's not really going to ingrain in me. I'm not going to take that kind of vague sort of ideals very seriously. But if I can really break that down into something very specific, and then create what I believe to be the best mode according to my current understanding to get there, and then start executing that game plan. Now that makes shit happen. That tends to manifest things pretty quickly. But again, most of the time, the way it ends up working out is so far different from my initial planning, but yet I believe those initial plans were foundational and very integral to the manifestation process as a whole. And this last one, it's that I find that things manifest quickly when they're actually what you truly want. I'm also flexible I'm also aware that oftentimes I don't really know exactly what I want. At one point I thought I wanted to win the lottery, and that turned out to be a big bust. And I realized not only that I couldn't believe that it would be possible, but I realized that would, I think, have made me kind of lazy and not really ambitious to get on YouTube. And now the joy I get from hearing how the videos I make and what I do is helping people, that to me is worth something that is beyond a price tag. No money can really compare to how I feel being able to help people like that. And that, among many other things, many other ups and downs that have been highly impactful into my own development and ability to be happy, I believe would have been completely averted if I was just come into millions of dollars all at once. But that's kind of an example where I clung to it. I didn't want to let that one go because I thought that was the only way to get what I thought I wanted. But it turned out to just, I eventually had to let go because it was disrupting my life in a very considerable way. And I'm very glad that I did, because it turns out that's not really what I actually wanted. However, that did lead me into a much clearer understanding of what it is I do want. So that wasn't a total waste of time anyways. So be flexible. Be willing to admit that you might not know what you want, but it's still best, I think, to put on paper and put out there into the cosmos what you think you want, but then just be flexible to maybe realize that your higher self or your soul self might have a different way of going about it, or a different thing altogether. And regardless, it's going to be more satisfying when you focus on manifesting things that are actually in harmony with your true self and not, again, the conditioned self. Anyways, my friends, hopefully these 5 tips will help you. Again, these are things that are very present in my life right now, and they work well for me, and they've really made a significant difference in my ability and speed to manifest things. And I believe they'll help you as well if you apply them. So I will speak to you guys soon. I'm going to bounce, get some lunch here. I'm hungry. It's been nice talking. I love you all. Have an amazing day. Peace.